Hey folks, it's Brian again, and we're doing an update on the construction bulldozer for the Universal Construction theme build. So we've got all of our bits primed in Tamiya red oxide, and unfortunately we did run out, so we're going to have to go out and get some more of that. But we did get the majority of it pretty much done. We still have to do the blade. That's a big deal, and then the control tower over there for the all the levers and gauges and stuff. That's going to get redone in red oxide. But as far as the radiator is concerned, and those little pins back there, and then our chair and the chair pedestal, I'm okay with those being gray because those are actually going to be done in. Well, the pedestal will be done in the tractor color, but everything else will be done in black. So I'm not worried about that. But the next step is to go ahead and do our salting technique. And then after that, we're going to move on to putting down some gray, all of the gray. And then once that's done, then we'll move on to the color coat. And we did get a chance yesterday afternoon to do the engine in our color coat. So it's very shiny. It's very nice and pretty. And we'll take care of that in a little bit. We'll make that nice and grimy. Here's our fan. Our fan also is nice and glossy. So we'll make that nice and weathered. And then I don't want to get too crazy in the weathering, but I'm not sure how much of it I want to weather. So I just decided to do the whole thing in red oxide and then come back over again and do it all in gray primer and then move on from there. So we're going to get ready to go ahead and get this stuff. So we're going to assault this now. We're going to assault it right now. And my plan is, since I have so many pieces and they're very, very large, is to just use a pan of water, maybe dip the pieces in the pan of water, and then dip them in a little plate of salt or something like that, kind of margarita style. So we'll see how that goes. We'll check back in a little bit. All right, so change of plans. Dipping parts in the water doesn't seem to work very well because we don't get the beading effect that we want. We just get like a large bead of water that just runs right off the part. So what we did was we found a nice little spray bottle in the bathroom in Mrs. BG's stuff, so I'm borrowing it. I believe there's water in this. I tasted it, so it tastes like water. And then we're also using just our kitchen salt shaker that we have. Let's see. And that has large enough holes on it to handle the kosher salt flakes that we're using. I sometimes find that the table salt is too small of a piece for this type of application. So what we're going to do is, I've already done the back side of this cog, so we're going to do this side, and then we'll do it here on the pan because I'm using the other hand to hold the phone. So we'll use our water, we'll spritz it a little bit, get some nice little beads on there. Pretty good, you know, they're small enough, so it's all right for me. And I'll move it to a dry area so we don't glue all of our salt to the pan. And then we're going to sprinkle, let it salt. There we go. I like that. That looks good. I'm happy with that. I'll put it over here with his brothers. We got all of this done so far. And we're just waiting for this pan of stuff here to dry up, and then we'll take it outside and put our primer on there. That's basically our salting technique. Very, very straightforward. No magic at all involved other than being able to go through Mrs. BG stuff when she's not around and borrow her stuff. All right, guys, we'll check back in a little bit later. Thanks. Bye. Right, okay, back again. This is this following day. This is Thursday now. We couldn't continue with the painting process last night because it was getting really windy. We had a storm moving in, and I had to paint on the back porch. But yeah, the storm was getting really bad. It was getting really windy, so I didn't want stuff to take off in the wind or to get even more, I don't know, even more dust and dirt on stuff that I already have. So we just packed it in for the evening and decided to pick it up again today, which was good because I didn't realize that I had run out of camel yellow, which is what I wanted to use for this, and I had to make a run to the store this morning. But all of our bits have been reprimed. You can see all the rusty, crusty salt that's flaking off by my fingers by accident. And the process now is to go over everything with our color coat. And we're going to try something a little different. I just mentioned that I had to get more camel yellow, which is, to me, is TS34, which is my favorite color for the construction, the universal construction vehicle build. Everything's being done in that shade. But I thought, if this is going to be so rusty and beat up and everything like that, perhaps we should try doing kind of like a faded out type of color. So we picked up some chrome yellow, which is TS47 by Tamiya also. And let's put these two caps together. And the caps seem to be pretty close in color shade. So we see that this here is a little bit richer, a little bit darker. This one here is a bit more pale. So we're going to spray all the horizontal surfaces with this color, and then the sides and underneath the overhangs and stuff like that on the tractor will be sprayed with this stuff here. So we're going to get to that. Hopefully we can kind of get ourselves a little bit of a faded paint job by misting these two different colors on there. All right, so we're going to get started on that, and then we'll check in and see how that turned out. Okay, so we brought everything in from outside. We got yellow on everything we wanted to get yellow on, and as we can tell, if you look at this boom right here, we're looking at the bottom side of that. And yeah, I got paint all over my fingers. We're looking at the bottom side of that, and that's a little bit darker. And if you look at the actual cowl, the hood area here, that's a little bit lighter. So those are the two different colors we're using. And if we take the boom and we rotate it, so here's the bottom, it's a little bit darker, and it gets pale as we rotate it to the top. I think we might be achieving the effect we were talking about. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but we've never tried this technique before, so we're going for it. And we're going to be adjusting our learning curve as we go. The next step is we're going to let stuff cure up for a while, because we just sprayed it a few hours ago. And even though Tamiya paint dries fast and everything, the coats are a little bit heavy, and it is very, very humid for our area here today. So we're going to let this set maybe until this evening or until tomorrow morning. I'm not sure, depending on what we got going on. And then we'll start knocking off the salt crystals and moving on to assembly and weathering. Weathering the parts will be very easy while they're like this, but I don't believe you get a cohesiveness with the weathering unless you have it all together and you can just go over the whole thing front to back, top to bottom, and do your weathering that way. So our tracks, we sprayed them, we primed them, and then went back and hit them with yellow, and then we went back over that with a little bit of light gunmetal to give us the wear areas. So I'm hoping that's going to look cool. But we are planning on doing some dried mud and maybe some dirt clod buildup here and there. A couple of guys had mentioned that would be, they said that would be really cool looking, and I agree. So we're going to go ahead and try that too. Everybody, thank you for tuning in again, and we'll talk to you a little bit later. Bye now.